Let's just begin by closing our eyes. Taking a couple of good, deep, cleansing breaths. Just become reacquainted with your breath. And also, this is our time to become reacquainted with now. This is our chance to tune back in to the present moment, the right now. No past, no future, just now. And the goal here is to see how fully you can rest in the now. How willing are you to rest in the now for even a few minutes? Is there something, is there anything more important than resting now in this moment? Is there anywhere else you need to be? Is there anything else you need to be doing that could be of any more value than resting in this moment now, surrounded by your mighty companions who are here for the same reason you are? And just breathe. Breathe in the now. Breathe in the companionship that surrounds you here in the now. You're here now, and you're not alone, and you're not on your own. Feel that feeling. I'm here in the now. I'm present. And I'm surrounded by mighty companions who are also here now with me. What does that feel like? What does it feel like to rest in the now without any need to go back or forward to what has happened in the past or what has yet to happen in the future? What does it feel like to be content to rest in what is so now without the need to rush away to what's gone or what hasn't happened yet? What does that feel like? Breathe it in. Enjoy it. you are here now, and you are not alone. And there's nowhere more important to be. How does that feel? Don't forget to breathe. And what does it mean to have a mind at rest? A mind that is at rest. It's not death. What does it mean to have a mind that is at rest? The Course tells us to say, I rest in God, as the way to allow the mind to rest in faith, to rest in peace, and to really, really rest. I rest in God. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just take another deep breath and bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body and back to your body, sitting in this chair, in this room. Yawn and stretch. Isn't it nice to allow your mind to rest for a few moments every once in a while? Your mind is like this. That's how your soul feels when you okay, look, for a few minutes, 5 minutes, I'm gonna rest in God. I'm just gonna rest. I'm not gonna plan, I'm not gonna fear, I'm not gonna be anxious, I'm not gonna make any plans, I'm just going to rest in what is now. Every time you do that, your spirit is like this. Like the Course says that what it enables your soul and your spirit to do is to breathe the holy air of its home that it is so homesick for. And that every time that you say, I'm going to rest in God, I'm going to rest in the now and not go anywhere else for a few minutes, your spirit and your soul goes like this. And then he goes, I'll take you home from here. And your soul takes you home because it knows the way. That's what the Course says. Your soul goes, thank you, I will take you from here, and takes you home. Because he says your soul is so very, very tired of breathing in the fetid scent of death. Pretty graphic, huh? Are you saying my house smells bad? No, just earth. And so your soul, every time you are willing to rest your mind for a moment in the moment, your soul says, thank you, I'll take it from here, and it takes you by the hand, and it shows you the way back to heaven, which it knows well. It knows the way. And your soul, all through the day, when you're in the past and in the future making plans, and you're in the past and in the future, and you're everywhere, but now your soul, the Course says, becomes like a little child, like an infant. Your soul becomes like a little infant, crying out for you to protect it, and for you to rest a minute, so that maybe it can go home for a little while and take you with it. Isn't that deep? That's what the Course says. That every time a soul leaves heaven, which means leaves home, that the soul becomes like an infant. The baby Christ becomes like an infant within you, who calls to you ceaselessly, please, 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 please let me go home and take you with me, please, I'm lonely for you. Isn't that deep? Every time you leave home, your soul becomes like an infant, beseeching you for protection. That for a few moments you might rest and it might go home, so that it can breathe the holy air of its home, which is heaven. Which, as we read the last 2 weeks, heaven is a state of no need, no lack. Wow. And so our souls are like little baby Christ in the manger. Please protect me. Please, please, please. It's like beseeching us. Please, 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 please. Will you rest a second so that we can go home for a little while? Don't worry, I know the way. I'll take you. And to me, that's the purpose of meditation. That's the purpose of quieting the mind, using the truth to quiet the mind. And the Course says at the beginning of our curriculum that we call the Course in Miracles, at the beginning of the curriculum, words have only the purpose of focusing your mind, because the mind is so chaotic, and it's so undisciplined, and it's everywhere, and it's distracted, and it's fragmented, and it's everywhere, it's everywhere, it's everywhere. And so at the beginning of the curriculum, the only purpose of these words in this book is to focus your mind, focus your mind, focus your mind, focus your mind. That's the only purpose of these words. We might think, oh, these words are so amazing, they're the goal, but they're not. The purpose of these words is to focus, focus, focus your mind. Why? So that you can go beyond them. So that you can go beyond them to what the Course calls the quiet mind. Right? So he says our journey and our goal is to go beyond words. To go beyond words. To the place where words are not even necessary anymore. So that's what the purpose of these words are. Which is amazing, because you might think these words are so awesome that they're the goal. But they're really not. They're just to focus our mind. So, shall we focus our mind a bit tonight with words? So that we can go beyond words? Anybody game? Anybody? Anyone? Okay. Okay, if you can't raise your hand, nod your head. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So, we are in chapter 2. And we are continuing, we're in the last few paragraphs of chapter 2, section 1, and then we'll go into chapter 2, section 2 in the original edition. So, where we are, the paragraph, okay, and if you don't have an original edition and you want one, there's 3 for sale on the piano. And if you don't want one and you don't have it, then just follow along. All right.
Have you turned on?
I'm going to leave it on. Thank you for asking. All right.
So what page are we
Okay, I can't tell you the page. Okay, but who has the original edition? Go to chapter 2, section 1. And go to the paragraph that starts, it's in my book, it's paragraph 17, and it starts, in reality, you are perfectly unaffected.
Okay.
Anybody see it? Everybody see it?
Yeah.
All right. There's only like 2 paragraphs left in this section, and then we're going to go on to the next section, which I think is called the Reinterpretation of Defenses. Yeah. All right. Finally, something that's going to reinterpret my defenses, meaning my defensiveness. I could use a bit of that, because I'm a bit defensive at times. All right. Okay. You know the whole turn the other cheek thing? I'm still working on that. Somebody says something I don't agree with. I'm still working on going, that's wonderful. Tell me more. I'm still working on that. Anybody else? Okay. All right, don't leave me out here alone. I have an ego too. That's why I'm up here. All right. Okay, so these paragraphs are really beautiful and really powerful, and they are chock full of really powerful instructions. So, as always, listen for the instructions, listen for the instructions. These are your lifelines, okay? Because if you'll just do what it says to do, even if you do not understand it and do not believe it and do not see how it applies, if you will do it, you will receive miracles beyond your wildest imaginations in situations that you have thought to be impossible. Okay? So these paragraphs are chock full of instructions. So, it says, in reality, you are perfectly unaffected by all expressions of lack of love. Perfectly unaffected by all expressions of lack of love? Really? Okay, and these lacks of love can either be from yourself and others, or these lacks of love can be from yourself to others, or these lack of love can be from others to you. Okay, so whether the lack of love is coming to you, or the lack of love is coming from you, you are perfectly unaffected by all of them. Wow, okay, do we believe that? Hell no. Let's just be honest. I do not believe I am perfectly unaffected by all lacks of love from others to me or me to them. Wow, hence all my guilt and anger and grievances. And he says, and the reason why you are perfectly unaffected by all expressions of lack of love, whether it's from you to them or them to you, is because peace is an attribute in you. Oh. That's why I'm unaffected by lacks of love coming from me, and I'm unaffected by lacks of love coming to me. And the reason I'm unaffected by it is because peace is an attribute in me. That's interesting. You know, you think of peace, you're like, oh gee, I'd love to have some peace. I'd love to get some peace. If only I could get some peace. If only I had some peace. Consistently, right? He's saying that the truth is that peace is an attribute in you. It's already there. It's already there. You know how you have like an organ? Like you would say an organ. My liver is an attribute of my body. It's already there. I don't have to work on getting a liver, right? The same thing about peace. It's already in you. It's built in. It's a part of you. It's already there. And because it's already there, then the truth is that you're not affected by other people's lacks of love to you, and you're not affected by your lack of love to others. Because peace is already there. All right, that's a lovely thought, wouldn't you say? Too bad we don't believe it. All right. Peace is an attribute in you. Okay, so there's already peace in me? Really? There's already peace in me? Well, who knew? I could have sworn that peace was something that I worked toward getting after a life of, I don't know, sacrifice, repression, suppression, you know, giving up everything I enjoy. That's what I had thought peace came from. A life of hard work and sacrificing all pleasure, right? You know, all the places we thought peace came from. Actually, it's an attribute or an organ in us. Then it says, you cannot find peace outside, period. Period. Cannot find peace outside. Then it says, and it says, so all mental illness is some form of external searching. Okay, now, in the edited version it says, all illness is some form of external searching. I really like it that in the original version it says all mental illness. Okay, so the author wants to talk to us specifically about mental illness. Shall we? Anybody game for a little conversation about mental illness? Finally, something I can relate to. I don't experience so much physical illness these days, but I sure experience a good bit of mental illness. And I certainly know a lot of folks around me who experience it too, right? I'm a therapist, okay. And I'm on Earth. There's a little bit of mental illness going around here on Earth, okay. So, mental illness is some form of external searching. For what? Peace. I'm looking for peace, I'm looking for peace, I'm looking for peace, but I am not looking inside. I'm not quieting my mind and looking for peace inside. I'm looking for it out there, and I'm looking for it out there, and I'm looking for it in them, and I'm looking for it in that, and I'm looking for it in that. The Course in Miracles says that's mental illness. That's where mental illness comes from. Wow. Okay, so does that mean that if I wasn't looking for peace outside of me, if I wasn't looking for peace in something external to me changing, that I would have mental health? Wow, that's interesting. I thought mental health came from, I don't know, something else. Yeah, pill, good therapist, I don't know, inpatient treatment, I don't know. But he's saying that the mental health comes when you stop searching externally for peace. Interesting. He talks about mental health like that. Okay. Then he says something else about mental health. Mental health is inner peace. All right, okay. Then he says something else about mental health. He says mental health is what? Well, mental health is something that enables you to remain unshaken by lack of love from without. And mental health enables you to be capable through your own miracles of correcting the external conditions which proceed from lack of love in others. Okay, so let's see what he says. Okay, so what is mental health? I would love to know what mental health is. Mental health is something that enables me to remain unshaken by what? By lack of love from others. Okay, that's what mental health is, right? Mental health is, even though there's a lot of crazy people around me, a lot, maybe a whole world of them, and they're all crazy. Why? Crazy from what? Lack of love. They don't love themselves, and they don't love me. And even though I'm surrounded by people who don't have mental health, they don't love themselves, they don't love me, but I'm unshaken. I still have peace. I'm unshaken. I'm surrounded by crazy people. And I am not shaken. I'm unshaken. That's mental health. Now, who in here would like some mental health? I would love to be able to remain unshaken even though I'm surrounded by people who don't love themselves, and they certainly don't love me. Wouldn't that be great? Can you imagine? Somebody comes up at you, and they don't love themselves, they hate themselves, and they certainly don't like you. Because you remind them of you know who. They don't love you, they don't even like you. You remind them of you know who. And they're going to make sure you know about it. And they're going to try to change you. And what would it be like for you to be like, that's cool, that's cool. Oh, lack of love, call for love. Wow. Now, if you were able to be like that, surrounded by people who do not love themselves and they do not love you, and you are able to maintain your own peace, maybe even see it as call for love, that's what it means to have mental health. That's interesting. Wow. Okay, I would like some of that. Because guess what? I'm in a world full of insane people. And I happen to be one myself. I'm in a world full of people who do not love themselves, and they do not love me. Right? And they have no problem expressing that to me. None. Right? They're not like, I don't love her, but I'm not going to tell her. It's not like that at all. And the more they don't love me, the more they want to tell me about it. Right? Okay. So, if I was going to have mental health, I would be able to remain unshaken by their lack of love of me and themselves. Wow, how nice would that be? Can you imagine? And to me, it's like, that's the question here for me these days. Like, here's my sole question these days. Okay, how do you have peace in hell? That really is that's like the question on my mind these days. Okay, all right. How can you be in hell and still be happy? How can you be in a world full of people who don't love themselves and they don't love you because they don't love themselves and still be happy? That's my question. And here is the answer. Oh, this is the way to be in hell. A world full of people who've been driven insane by guilt and self-hatred, and still have a good time, still be happy. How to be in hell and still be happy. This is the way. Have some mental health.
Would it be, I'm getting the impression, would it be correct to say that I'm not really bothered by their lack of love for me and themselves, that all that's really going on, they're waking up and being my lack of love for
That's
me
right.
and them.
It's exactly
I kind
right.
of agree with them, and they...
Exactly. What he's saying is that the way that you can be in hell, in a world full of people who hate themselves and each other, and so they don't share with each other, so there's lack, and they're greedy, and so there's lack, and so there's poverty, and so there's war, right? And what else do people who hate themselves do? Well, not only do they hoard their resources so that we don't share our resources of the planet, but they also wage war on each other. They hoard and they wage war. That's what people do who hate themselves and so hate other people. We hoard and we attack, right? That's the characteristics of hell, okay? So if you're in a world like that, people who don't love themselves and they don't love each other, and so there's hoarding, there's attacking, and so there's scarcity and war, then how do you still have peace in hell? Well, here's what you do. Stop searching externally for peace. And the second you stop externally searching for peace, you find that peace is an attribute in you, given you like an organ in your body, and then you have peace that can't be shaken by the crazy people around you who don't love themselves, and they don't love you, and they hoard their resources, and they attack, they wage war on their neighbor, which very often is you. Wow. And then he says something else about what mental health gives you. And remember, mental health equals internal searching for peace. Mental illness equals external searching for peace. I'm not happy, and something outside of me has got to change. What is it? That's mental illness. I never heard mental illness described like that. I mean, even in the edited version, it doesn't say mental illness. It says illness. Oh, yeah, okay, I can get that. But now that he clarifies it, mental illness. Okay, here's something else he says about mental health. I love it. Not only does mental health enable you to remain unshaken by everybody else's lacks of love for themselves and others, but mental health enables you to do something else very valuable, and that is this. It enables you, through your own miracles, which means right thoughts, of correcting the external conditions which proceed from lack of love in others. Okay, what does that mean? That means that if you have mental health, then the conditions that come from other people's insanity, like lack of resources, poverty, sickness, war, all those things, you will have the power to correct. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa. The stuff that comes from other people's lack of love around me, I'll be able to correct through my own miracles, through my own right thinking, if I have mental health. Wow. So not only will I be able to remain unshaken by their egos, but I'll also be able to correct the crap, the doo-doo, that comes from their lacks of love. Wow, that's pretty powerful, huh? Why? Oh, I don't know, because I'm mentally healthy. Wouldn't you love to be able to go, I am mentally healthy? Wouldn't that be great? I'd love to have that experience. I am mentally healthy. Wow. How often do you actually feel mentally healthy? Anyone? 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 All right.
Was this I'm hearing your opening meditation, that where we just got quiet and focused on now?
Right.
Well, I've tried this internal searching, and I found I didn't do it any better than external searching.
Right.
When I'm searching for my peace, it doesn't come internal.
Right.
But I did notice it come during your thing, so we don't even search inside if we were just quiet, and then it will, because it's already in us, come of itself.
Thank you. That's exactly right. That's
I just happened to notice it in your thing.
Thank you. Absolutely. You know, in my perception, in my use of it, meditation is, for me, one of my versions or one of my forms of internal searching for peace. Because, just like you said, what the Course taught me was that quieting the mind, which takes great discipline, by the way. Have you noticed? It takes a wee bit of mental discipline to quiet your mind. Does anyone notice that? It takes some friggin' discipline, my God. I thought it took discipline to clean my house weekly. And that's nothing compared to the discipline it takes to quiet my mind, even for 5 freaking minutes. Okay, so quieting the mind is a way of internal searching for peace. Because just like you said, when the mind is quiet, then the mind naturally awakens to the peace that's already there. I mean, just to hear the statement that peace is an attribute in you, it's already there. It's already there. Who knew? Who knew that peace was already in me? I really could have sworn. I could have sworn that peace would only come when I didn't have any money concerns, I wasn't worried about my child, I didn't have a job I had to go to every day that I wasn't in love with, and all I had to do, I didn't have to worry about money, I didn't have to worry about my child, I didn't have to worry about anything, I could just go be in some kind of paradise on earth and meditate and pray all day and hang out in the hot tub. And get massages from Thompson. Really, really, there's a part of me that's telling me that if I could just get or when I'm able to be blah, 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 or when finally I don't have to work anymore, I worry about money, I worry about my kid, I could finally experience peace. I really didn't know that peace was an attribute already in me. Right? Who of us heard that growing up? Oh, my dear, peace is already in you. You just need to quiet your mind. And you will find it, my dear little one. Who heard that? Anyone? Anyone? I had a spiritual mom and I never heard it. All right.
So it's all our searching that blocks us from experiencing.
And that's exactly right. Now, interesting. Listen. Mental illness is external searching. Mental health is internal searching. Interesting. So, apparently, just the act of looking within brings about mental health. It didn't say looking within and finding, notice. It didn't say internal searching and finding, notice. It just said internal searching. That's interesting. Just the act of, I need peace. I'm so mentally ill. I'm so not peaceful. I'm so not peaceful. I'm in so much conflict. Okay, I'm going to look within. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to look within. I don't know. I'm just going to look within. I'm not going to look outside. I'm going to quiet my mind. I'm going to close my eyes. I have no idea how to search internally for peace, but I'm going to set that intent. I'm going to close my eyes for 5 minutes. And then for 5 minutes, I'm not going to sit here and think about what needs to change besides me for me to be happy. For 5 minutes. He said peace comes from, he said mental health comes from that. He didn't say internal searching and finding, but just internal searching for peace. Okay, so for 5 minutes, I'm not going to figure out what outside of me, besides me, needs to change for me to be happy. I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to ask for peace. You said peace is in me? Great. Show me. Show me the peace. You heard show me the money? I'm going to close my eyes. Show me the peace that you said is an attribute in me, like an organ in me. Wow. Okay. That's the end of that section. Okay. Any questions or comments about that? Mental health.
So peace isn't mental health then?
Peace is mental health.
Searching for peace.
Right.
Well, it says mental health is inner peace,
Right.
but then you said that just quieting your mind and searching for, or just I don't know, I'm not sure what you were saying, when you act,
Internal searching.
the internal searching
Right.
is mental health.
Exactly.
Where peace is the goal of internal searching.
It's almost like what I hear saying is when you make the decision to look inside for it, it's as good as found. Even if you're thinking it's taking time. Notice how he is associating inner peace and mental health with internal searching for peace. So it's like from the intent to look within for peace, it comes. So it's almost like they're related.
Because it's already there.
Because it's already there. So the intent to go within to find it guarantees you will.
So it doesn't exist until you look for it.
Thank you. It doesn't exist until you look for it in the right place.
Right.
It doesn't exist in your mind until you look for it in the right place. And then when you look for it in the right place, well, you're guaranteed to find it. The only reason I have not had mental health and inner peace until now is only because I didn't look in the right place. It's not because I was a bad Course in Miracles student, which I was pretty sure that I was. It is not because there's something deficient about me from my childhood. It's only because I was not looking in the right place. That's it. The only reason I didn't have mental health, which is inner peace, because I didn't look in the right place where it was, which was in me. Because Lord knows, nobody told me it was there. What was I supposed to do? My parents didn't tell me peace was in me. My synagogue didn't tell me peace was in me. What am I supposed to do? Right? And so I didn't search in there for peace. I searched outside of me when I get this and when I get that and when I become this and when I become that and when I have this and when I get there and when I do this, I'll have peace. And then I wondered, gee, why don't I have peace? And gee, why don't I have peace? What's wrong with me? That's what this course is calling mental illness. And who do we know that's not mentally ill by those standards? This is the mentally ill planet. Welcome to the planet of mental illness.
Well, clinically, mental illness is really defined as what your level of mental illness is, your deviation from the norm or
Right.
reality.
Right, that's right.
Which is an outside solution.
Yes,
It's not turning the page.
exactly. I mean, here on Earth, like you're saying, mental illness is defined as inner peace that causes you to not be able to hold a job. I mean, we all lack peace, but most of us were able to hold a job, right? And care for our bodies and care for our kids, right? So in the world, it's like, well, no, if you don't have inner peace, that's normal. And you're only mentally ill, abnormal, when you can't take care of yourself or your kids, right? Right? People will call you normal, even if you're like no peace. You're conflicted to the max. Guilt-ridden, conflicted, afraid all the time, sad, depressed, anxious. But listen, if you can still hold a job and take care of yourself, oh, you're normal. You're not mentally ill. We only call you mentally ill if you can't hold a job, you can't take care of yourself, right? This is defining mental illness in a totally different way, in a way in which basically it's revealed that we're all mentally ill if we don't have inner peace. And by the way, let's review what is inner peace for real. Inner peace which means real mental health is this: you remain unshaken even when you're surrounded by crazy people who don't like you. That's a great new definition of mental health, don't you think? Surrounded by people who hate themselves and they don't like you and they ain't afraid to tell you all about it. And you're like, that's cool. That's all right. Call for love. Next. That's inner peace, aka mental health, according to A Course in Miracles. And I, for one, would like to have some of that. I was reading this before class, and I was like, wow, what would that be like? Really? I mean, and I heard my ego even go, you know that's not possible here. That's what I heard my ego say, that's nice, but you know that's not possible here. You're here. That's not possible here.
I just want to be pissed off for a little while.
Exactly.
I'm okay with
Oh,
their lack of.
that's a nice thought. You have such peace that you're unshaken even by you're surrounded by crazy people who want to take their issue out on you. They hate themselves, they hate you, and they want to take it out on you. And they're trying to take it out on you, and you're like unshaken. And my ego was like, you know that's not possible here. Really? I heard that and believed it for a second. And I was like, okay. Right. I mean, I heard my ego go, no, sorry. That's you know. I mean, look at you. You've been studying the Course how long? And how shaken were you this week when somebody did you know what? Right? So, but it is possible. And the ego is the voice that goes, nope, that's not possible. I'm sorry. You can't have a peace of mind that remains unshaken by the lacks of love of the people around you. Nope, you can't. That's the ego. But because we're being told this by the voice of love, that's how we know it is not only possible, but the only real thing. The only thing that's real. Yes?
So is it fair to say that as the levels of mental illness go along, from depression to severely depressed to schizophrenia,
Anxiety,
that
right.
the person is searching more outside of themselves?
Yes.
The worse it gets in the physical.
Yes, exactly. There is a correlation between the increasing symptoms of mental illness, the increasing severity of the symptoms with the external searching. So the more intense your external search for peace is, the more intense the symptoms of your mental illness become. And the more intense and severe your symptoms of mental illness become, the more dysfunctional you become. Like, well, I used to be just regularly mentally ill where I could still function. But now, the symptoms of my illness have become I can't even function in the world to keep a job or care for myself or whatever. Wow. That's an entirely new interpretation of mental health and mental illness. And I, for one, am so grateful for it, even though it reveals that I myself am quite mentally ill. I'm still grateful for it. Okay. So, shall we go on to the next section? Anyone?
Well, yeah.
Hell no,
I'm
of
trying
course.
to define that internal search as
Yes.
really, as soon as you look within, you run right into it.
Thank you.
I mean,
Internal
there's not
searching
really a
is
search.
exactly what we're saying.
And
As soon as you
you
start
have
looking
peace,
internally, you run right into it.
And right there, you stop planning and you stop doing.
You stop. When you start searching internally for peace, you stop planning and you stop doing. And boom, there it is. Oh my God.
So
There it
really,
is.
that's what's destroying our peace, is all this planning and doing.
Exactly. Listen, In this, by this definition, mental illness is this belief. If something outside of me were different, I would be happy. And I am now going to give my mind the purpose of figuring out what, besides me, needs to change so that I can be happy. Okay, in our world, that's normal. And according to the Course, that's mental illness. Go figure. This is why this room is not filled with Course in Miracles students. They don't like to hear that they're mentally ill, and I don't blame them. I wasn't happy to hear it myself. Even though when I heard it, I'm like, well, actually, that fits completely. And just ask my friends, they'll tell you for sure. Yeah, she's mentally ill. But she's cute. She's fun sometimes. When she's had a few drinks. Okay, so now we're going on to chapter 2, section 2. All right, so this section is called the Reinterpretation of Defenses, which we could also say the reinterpretation of mental illness. Okay, what's a defense? Some form of external searching. I'm going to get such and such to happen and I'll be happy. That's a defense. Okay, the reinterpretation of defenses. Did everybody see it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody need to ask any questions or say any yes buts to be present for this next section? Okay, all right. He says, when you are afraid of anything, I hate it when he makes those completely general blanket statements. When you are afraid of anything, this is what's happening. You're afraid of something because you are acknowledging its power to hurt you. Oh, that's why I'm afraid of that. Because I'm acknowledging its power to hurt me. So, I want you to stop for a second, close your eyes for a second, and ask yourself, what is it I'm afraid of tonight? Okay, great.
That's not enough time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you able to come up with something, Billy?
A few things.
Oh, a few things, okay. So you need a little more time, okay, all right. Okay, then I want you to tell yourself, I'm afraid of this because I'm acknowledging its power to hurt me. Close your eyes for a second and tell yourself the truth about whatever it is that you're afraid of tonight. I'm acknowledging its power to hurt me. Great. That's a really optimistic belief right there. Okay, I'm afraid of this because I'm acknowledging its power to hurt me. Wow. Okay, that's where its seeming power comes from. Okay, I'm afraid of cancer. So you're acknowledging cancer's power. I'm acknowledging cancer's power to hurt me. Oh, that's where cancer's power comes from. My acknowledging its power to hurt me. I acknowledge its power to hurt. I acknowledge its power to hurt me. Wow. Okay. Then he says, remember that where your heart is, there is your treasure also. What does that mean? It means that you believe in what you value. Okay, that's nice. What does that mean? It means if you are afraid, you are valuing wrongly. I never thought of that. If I'm afraid, it means I'm valuing wrongly. Okay, that's nice. And then he goes on to say, human understanding will inevitably value wrongly. I'm sorry. What kind of understanding will inevitably value wrongly? Human. That's pretty broad when you say it pretty much covers a lot. Wow. Do you have human understanding? Are you suffering from human understanding? Are you? Are you afraid? Are you suffering from human understanding? Are you afraid? Isn't that great? Fear, what does that mean?
So
Oh,
that-
I don't know, you've got some human understanding going on. You're understanding like a human. That's pitiful.
when
That's
I-
pitiful.
When I acknowledge its power to hurt me, doesn't say it had any power, just saying I gave it the power to
Thank
hurt
you.
me.
When I'm afraid, I gave it power to hurt me.
It
Fear
doesn't
means
have-
what? I gave it power to hurt me. Who heard that about fear? Anywhere but in A Course in Miracles. I've never heard that anywhere. You know what I heard even in metaphysical places? Fear is very valuable. Fear is very helpful. Haven't you guys heard that in other metaphysical, spiritual things? Fear is valuable. Fear is valuable. Fear enables you to not run in front of a bus. Well, actually, it's sanity that enables you to not run in front of a bus, not fear, right? He's saying that fear is when you are valuing wrongly. What does it mean to value wrongly? I'm giving value, meaning power, to something to hurt me. I've said, this can hurt me. Here I am, a child of God, endowed with all the power of a loving, limitless universe. But this little thing, that person's opinion, can hurt me. I am an unlimited, powerful being connected with the unlimited power of the universe. But that person's opinion can hurt me. Wow. That's what fear says. This little bug can hurt me. Wow. If I don't have piles of paper strips and metal discs and plastic, it can hurt me. That is insane. And he's saying, another definition of insanity is valuing wrongly. That's saying I am valuing wrongly. I value that more than the power that I have and am and the peace that I have. Well, interesting. Fear means valuing wrongly. That's such an interesting reinterpretation. The reinterpretation of defenses, the reinterpretation of fear. What does fear mean? I'm valuing wrongly. I'm using my human understanding. Stop using your human understanding. It's so pitiful. Isn't that funny?
It's bringing the correlation of that's where power comes from what I value. If I value something a lot, it will have a lot of power over me. If I
That's
don't
right.
give a shit about it, it can't hurt me at all.
Exactly. That's right.
So that we
Thank
can
you.
take a look at what we're valuing, or take a look at what has power over you, because that's what you're valuing.
Same thing. Okay, so thank you. So by valuing something, I'm giving it power over me. Now, what is it that I fear? Well, something that I think has power over me. Of course, I'm going to be afraid of it. It has power over me. How did it get that power? I valued it. I said it was more important or more valuable than what? The peace that I was given. That's a part of me. That's an attribute in me. Wow, how interesting that if you are afraid, you are valuing wrongly. And human understanding, just in case you're using human understanding. Isn't that funny to hear that human understanding is the problem? Oh, silly human. Silly human. Using that human understanding. I'm so sorry. There you go, using that human understanding again. Don't you know human understanding will inevitably value wrongly? Wow. Ha ha ha. What a joke. All right. This is my favorite joke book from the universe.
This human understanding, is that where like we almost always reverse cause and effect and
Yes.
things like that?
Yes. Human understanding is always searching externally for peace and valuing everything externally more than the peace that is an attribute in us. That's pretty much what human understanding does. Yeah, human understanding is like this. What outside myself, besides me, needs to change for me to be happy? And if it doesn't, I'm going to hold a grievance. Even if it means absolutely sacrificing all my peace and all my abundance and all my health. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's a good plan. That's what human understanding thinks. I, for one, would love to go beyond that. I would like to think a little bit higher, just a little bit. Even if I was just to think a little bit higher than typical human understanding, I would be considered a genius here. All right. So it says, human understanding will inevitably value wrongly, which is something outside myself, and by endowing all human thoughts with equal power, human understanding will inevitably destroy peace. Oh, what else does human understanding do? Oh, it gives all thoughts equal power. It goes, fear thoughts is just as powerful as love thoughts. Yeah, they all have equal power. That's what human thinking thinks. Wow. Now, just to point out an interesting fact, in the original edition it says human understanding. It does not say human understanding in the edited version. I just wanted to point that little thing out. Okay, so, and here it goes, human understanding. Right. So, okay, we want to elevate our thinking beyond typical human. Human understanding goes, something outside of me has got to change for me to be happy. What is it? Let me figure it out and let me make a plan to get it to change so I can be happy. That's what humans think. Wow. Okay. So, does anybody feel offended by that? Good. All right. Yeah, you do? Okay,
That's
you
mental
do.
illness right there.
That's right. Feeling offended?
No.
Feeling offended when someone...
Externally looking.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly what... So by definition, human thinking is mental illness. You can see why there's not just this room isn't just overflowing. I don't know, some humans might be offended by hearing that human understanding is mental illness. I don't know. Probably so. The thing I like about the Course is that you can say the most offensive thing that an ego could hear. So offensive to the ego that it might like to crucify you. But because it is so beyond human understanding that when the human ego listens to it, all they hear is and they go click. What the heck was that? Right? That's the nice thing about A Course in Miracles. It gives you protection to say the truth to people who really prefer to just stay with regular, good old mental illness, human understanding. And they don't even know what you're saying enough to be offended enough to, I don't know, crucify you somehow. Isn't that nice? Okay, so that's just a nice little thing to say, don't be afraid to study A Course in Miracles. I mean, I remember when the first time I ever heard A Course in Miracles, I was like 16, and Earl Purdy, my teacher, had sent me a tape of him reading the Course. And I got it at my house, and I put it in my little Walkman. Does everybody remember Walkmans? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. And I put it in my little Walkman, and I got on my bike, and I rode around the neighborhood, listening. And I came back to my father's house, and I put my bike in the garage, and I pulled the tape out of my little Walkman. I said, "What was that, real estate?" And I chucked it in the trash can. Because I was not ready to hear the truth, I literally could not hear it. I literally didn't hear what it said. And I thought, what is that, real estate? And I chucked it in the trash can. Isn't that funny? Because I wasn't ready for it, right? Okay. So, anyway, all just to say, don't be afraid to hear the truth and to speak the truth. Now, he says, says human thinking endows all human thoughts with equal power. Fear has the same amount of power as love. And he says, and that will inevitably destroy peace. If you think your fearful thoughts have the same amount of power as your loving thoughts, that will destroy your peace. Isn't that interesting? So, with that, to me that means if you want to maintain your peace, you're going to need to learn to remember that fear thoughts do not have the same power as loving thoughts. Your fears do not have equal power with your loving thoughts.
My fear thoughts are back to where it said, they have no power over you.
Yes, they have no power.
The first section.
Yes.
You're totally unaffected by them.
When you are afraid of anything, you are acknowledging its power to hurt you. So the truth is that the way we're being asked to respond to our fears is we're supposed to say, this has no power to hurt me. Even if you're saying it like a robot, which means you don't believe it, which we don't. Don't fool yourself. But we are supposed to say it. This has no power to hurt me, because fear thoughts do not have equal power to love. And you say it just like that, like a robot. Meaning without feeling, without belief, like we do, okay? And that's an improvement on like the way we normally do it, which is not saying it at all, not even remember it. So this has no power to hurt me. This has no power to hurt me. Why? Because fear does not have equal power to love, which means fear does not have equal power to who I am. That's what you're supposed to say.
So in the moment of my fearful or hateful thought, and my lack of love, my willingness to have even one thought of love
Yes.
automatically points me in that direction of my internal peace,
That's exactly right.
which activates it immediately and saves me.
Thank you. Just even being willing to say a truth thought, even without belief, even without conviction, even without feeling, points your mind into an internal search for peace, which automatically brings it. So like it says, all you have to do is search internally. You don't have to find it. You just have to, the internal search is where peace comes from. Because the moment, just like Jim said, the moment you look internally, well, there it is. Even if you had no idea it was there. Even if you didn't believe it was there. So, if you look for it there, there it is. Thank you. So even just one, that's what the Course calls that little willingness. It means you say the truth to yourself without belief, without conviction, without feeling, without believing, without experiencing it, and you just say it. Why? Because it's true. If it's true, all you have to do is say it and you get the benefit from it. That's the miracle of the truth. You don't have to believe it. Just like gravity. Well, you don't have to believe it to experience it. Right? That's how you know it's real in this realm. You know, you can say, I don't believe in gravity, but when you step off a building, you're going to fall down. Even if you don't believe it. Same thing with truth. Even if you don't believe it, but you say it with willingness, it holds you up. You get the benefit of it.
Well, Well, and if we think back, you made me just think back. You can doubt truth all you want, and it's never affects it at all.
It doesn't.
It's always there, but it doesn't take much doubt on an illusion to make it just totally go away.
Exactly.
Just
Very
saying
nice.
that creates a second opinion, a doubt
Thank you.
of the
Just
validity
saying.
of its power.
Just saying I'm afraid of this because I'm acknowledging its power to hurt me entertains some doubt, which is enough for it to disappear, like we said last week, in the twinkling of an eye. Wow, how beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few more sentences and then we'll stop for the evening. And it says, that is why the Bible speaks of, quote, the peace of God which passeth human understanding. Now, the original edition puts in there human. Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice little addition? The peace of God which passeth human understanding. Okay, now he's going to tell us about this kind of peace. The peace of God that passes human understanding. What about it? Well, this kind of peace is totally incapable of being shaken by human errors of any kind. Wow, sure would love to experience some of that someday. I read that, and he was like, you know you'll never experience that here. I was like, thank you for sharing, ego. I like to say what my ego says out loud because once I do, it's really funny. Right? But if I don't say it out loud, guess what? It ain't funny. It's depressing. That's why I'm so grateful to have a place where I can say it out loud, because then it's funny all of a sudden. He says, the peace of God that passes human understanding is a peace that is incapable of being shaken by human errors of any kind. This kind of peace denies the ability of anything which is not of God or peace or love to affect you in any way. Even me, when I read that, was like, right. You'll never experience that here. Even me, who loves this, right? He's saying that is the peace of God. You ever wondered what the peace of God is? That's what it is. Very nice definition. It's a kind of peace that is incapable of being shaken by human errors of any kind. Well, even though my ego's like, you know, you'll never experience that here on earth. You know what? Just having the thought of it and hearing it and saying yes is a miracle and brings it closer to me.
So
Wow.
by how that works when I'm at peace, so to speak, at that time I am not valuing wrongly, and that's why none of this stuff can affect me.
Exactly. Even if I don't believe that fully.
As God values
Thank
for a
you.
few moments.
Very good. So even if I don't believe it, just to say it means that for a few moments I'm not valuing wrongly.
So this stuff that comes, because you have to value wrongly for them to have any effect.
Right, exactly. And it already said that this kind of peace totally surpasses my understanding. It already said that. In other words, it said, that's all right, Anna. I didn't say you had to believe it. I already said it surpasses your understanding. But that doesn't mean you can't have it if you say you want it. Well, good, then we got a deal. Because it's not like first I understand how that could be and then I experience it. It goes, first I say yes, even if I don't know how, even if it surpasses my understanding, and then I experience it. That's the way it goes. It's not like, oh, I see how I can experience a peace that can't be shaken by any human errors of any kind, and then I experience it. That doesn't go like that. First I go, well, that definitely does surpass my understanding. I don't know how that could happen for me, but I'm willing and I'll say yes. And then, poof, then crazy human errors happen around me, and strangely and miraculously, I'm like, wow, I still have peace. That's a miracle. right?
Don't you find, I found most of the core stuff, you don't understand it till after you've experienced it. Because, understanding is recognizing, and until you've been there, there's nothing to recognize.
Exactly. Don't forget, understanding comes after you experience it, and only after you experience it, right? That's when understanding comes. What comes first is you saying, I do not humanly understand that. But okay, if you say so, God. Yeah, okay, yes, I ask for a peace that it can't be shaken by human errors of any kind, sure. Whatever, sure, God. Right? Then it comes. Wow. Then you experience it. So experience doesn't come from understanding. I'm so smart. Peace comes from willingness. Peace comes from acceptance. I accept that. I'd love to experience that, and so I'm just going to say, yeah. That's when it comes. Not from, yeah, I get it, that makes sense. Wow. Okay, so it's 8:52. Now, let's stop here, but I will tell you that in next week's section, he talks more about mental health. Something goes, the right mind of the mentally healthy depends on this. So, next week, dun dun dun, Course in Miracles cliffhanger. What does the right mind of the mentally healthy depend on? Now I'm going to have to come back. Because I have no idea what that could be. Okay, so what is it that the right mind of the mentally healthy depends on? Next week we're going to hear about that. All right. So, all right. Don't forget to check out my website, Kujawa.com, to learn more about my holistic counseling practice and my miracle psychotherapeutic sessions that I offer online, Skype, phone, and in person. All right. Also, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, I do my meditation and world healing class. So this is a class where we're learning how to quiet the mind. Imagine that. A class devoted to learning how to practice having a quiet mind. Imagine that. And then, once we have accomplished the quiet mind together, then we use our quiet mind to pray for the world. The people around us who do not love themselves and do not love us, aka the world. Okay? Right. How do you have peace in a world of people who hate themselves and you? Okay? How do you have peace? Well, what I heard, and the reason I started this class was, you pray for them. And you learn how to quiet your mind so that you have a peace that is unshaken by all of their errors that they are projecting on you. Okay? That is how you have the peace of God. You learn how to quiet your mind, search internally for peace, so that you experience a peace that is unshaken by all the human errors of any kind. Wow. And I tell you what, when you look out in the world, you're going to see some breathtaking human errors, correct? Breathtaking. I don't know, like a whole world at war, a whole country starving to death, and, things like a whole country being at war and millions of people dying and children starving and dying. I don't know, things like that. Human errors like that. How you saying there's a peace of mind you could experience where you're not going to be shaken by that? Sign me up. Because I, at this point, am very shaken by the human errors that I see in the world. You know, like a whole world at war where children are murdered for war and starved to death. I still feel shaken by that. So I personally would love to experience a peace of mind that can't be shaken by that. And so in this meditation and prayer and world prayer class, we're learning how to quiet the mind and focus the mind so that we can search internally for peace, so that we can have a peace of mind that is unshaken by human errors of any kind, so that we can then extend that peace of mind to the world that needs it. Okay, so that's the purpose of that class. It's every Wednesday from 7 to 8 or 8:30, depending on how we all feel at the moment. And if you want information on that or instructions about that, it's on the piano. Okay? All right. All right. Shall we try to quiet our mind a bit? Thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you weren't here, who am I going to talk to? Really? I need y'all. I'm not embarrassed to say that anymore. If that's offensive or that puts too much pressure on you, I'm sorry, don't come back. All right. So I want you to close your eyes and just breathe. And I want you to just tune into how you feel right now. How do you feel right now? Tune in. Beautiful. Now I want you to bring to your awareness some kind of, some version, your version in the last week of your mental illness, where you were seeking externally for your peace and your happiness, and you were finding nothing but disappointment and anger and frustration and depression and physical illness and sadness. I want you to bring that to your awareness. Where is it in the last week that I know I've been externally searching for peace, as evidenced by the fear and the pain and the frustration and the lack that I felt? Where have I been mentally ill this past week? Where is it in the last week that I was so shaken by the lacks of love around me, to me, and from me? And then I want you to begin your search for peace internally by saying, peace and mental health is some form of external searching. I want you to tell yourself, peace is an attribute in me. I would like to find the peace that is an attribute in me. God, I ask for the peace that you put in me. I ask for your peace, God. The peace you put inside me. I ask for the peace that passes my understanding. I don't care if I don't understand how I can be at peace in this. I don't care. I just ask for it. I ask for the peace that passes my human understanding in this situation. God, I ask for your peace. I ask for a peace that is unshaken by this experience, by what I'm experiencing in other people's lacks of love, and by my lacks of love to others. I ask for the peace of God. I ask for the peace that is an attribute in me. I ask for mental health. And for a moment, I want you to make the decision to forgive yourself all your external searchings for peace that manifested in mental illness, that manifested in a lack of love from you to others. I forgive myself for my external searching. I did not know. I was mistaken, and I ask for the correction of all that came from and resulted from my external searching for peace. I ask for the correction of all that resulted from my external search for peace. I forgive myself my external searchings. I forgive them for all their external searchings for peace. They did not know. Forgive them, Father. They know not what they have done. And forgive me, for I know not what I was doing. I did not know what I was doing. I forgive myself for not knowing what I was doing. And to that we say, amen. Amen. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. Like I said, who am I gonna talk to if you're not here?
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. See you next time I see you.
Thank you.